All right, we're live. Okay, great. We're live. Welcome to Therapy Ain't No Joke. I know it's been a minute since we have given you an episode, but there is a reason why we are live today. I am, of course, Sean Garvey. On my other side here, whether it's my left side or my right side, I have my host here, Rasta, here on Therapy Ain't No Joke. If we can get his mic to start working, that'd be great. I see he is on mute. We're going to get that figured out there. Matter of fact, I may be able to do it on my end. Let me see. Can you hear me, Rasta?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. We're having a little bit of hiccups there. Technical. I can hear you now.
Copy that.
That may be a delay, but we appreciate you for having you come on Therapy Ain't No Joke, as always, by the way. I know there's been some stuff that's been going on both our ends or whatever. We're not going to spend too much time to talk about it. What you're hearing in the background, by the way, is music courtesy of Ray Melody. So big shout out to Ray Melody for providing us with the music bed. So Rasta, before we go any further, do you want to let the people know what's been going on in your world, or you just want to get right into tonight's conversation?
Well, I appreciate that. In short, overcoming personal boundaries establishing boundaries, overcoming the mental health state that even professionals or peer professionals go through. It's not just about giving other people advice, but taking your own advice and being able to stabilize your mental health and stay in a recovery space where things will provide itself in the space that it need to be.
Absolutely, absolutely. I've been through a few personal matters myself too, but at the same time, dealing with some other projects. Been working on set for a few projects. Some of them I cannot disclose, but of course, everybody is aware now that I was recently on a game show just to give some light, some positive news to our viewers and to our listeners before we go any further. I was on a game show called The Perfect Line, and big shout outs to the team over at Peachtree TV in Atlanta for carrying the new syndicated show hosted by Deborah Noville. Some of you all, most of you all of you all should know her from Inside Edition, but she decided to take a different route in the broadcasting world from doing news and all that other great stuff to now being a game show. So big shouts to Deborah for having me and the other contestants be a part of that amazing game show. You get a chance to check it out on Game Show Network. I think it's now called Game Show Central, but it's still Game Show Network. You just got to make sure you check your local listings. And also, it's going to be available on multiple platforms since we are in the streaming app world nowadays where you can get content from everywhere. I heard that it's going to be, well, the episode that I'm going to be on is going to be on streaming apps, including Pluto TV and a few other places that you can get on your Roku TV or even on your Amazon Fire TV. I'll be able to let you all know more details leading up to that episode before it airs on Wednesday. That's this coming Wednesday this month. So you'll be able to check it out in real time in case you missed it. For all of my Atlanta residents that were able to check it out on Peachtree TV this past Tuesday. And the crazy thing about it was I didn't know it was airing on Peachtree TV until the day after. So sorry, ladies and gentlemen, for delivering that information at the last minute or the day after it premiered on Peachtree TV. So sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen, but you will get another chance to check it out if you haven't seen it already. But yeah, some things, of course, happened both personal and business to where we had to take another hiatus from doing therapy. Ain't no joke. And by the way, if you are a first-time viewer of watching Therapy Ain't No Joke, this is an offspring to the mental space that I did over at WAOK 1380 and V103 HD3 in Atlanta. And this is more so of a therapy session, not just only for me and not only for Rasta, but also for people that are watching this. And we really appreciate you all for watching us in real time and commenting on some of the subject matters that we provided during Therapy Ain't No Joke. But like I said, it is a therapy session for everybody. Usually it's a show where we talk about all things considered mental health in our community, and it still is, but we want to broaden it more to having it become a safe space for all of us and for anybody that is dealing with some form of mental illness or know somebody that is dealing with some type of mental illness in their family or just in their circle or in their network or people that they know personally. Let's go right into tonight's topic. Well, it's not so much a topic, it's a variety of different topics that fall under the umbrella of what people consider this time that we're in right now, spiritual warfare. Spiritual warfare, it can be illustrated and interpreted in so many different ways. But I was talking to my great brother on the right side, the left side of the screen here, Rasta, that we needed to go live as opposed to pre-record. And that was the idea, the plan that we was going to go with at first tonight. We did not plan on going live via Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube. Unfortunately, we're not able to go live on Honey due to some technical issues that we're still working out. But this episode, by the way, will be seen on Honey at a later date and time. But we were going to pre-record and I told Rasta, I think we should go live. And ironically, today is the anniversary of 9/11, and everyone is talking about the assassination of Charlie. I want to make sure I say his name correctly here, as we are still getting some updates here. Um, Matter of fact, and thank you to my research team for bringing this to me. Charlie Kirk, by the way. I just happened to, unfortunately, not have this site up that I wanted to in real time. My apologies, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. But Charlie Kirk is an author, American author, and he is also a commentator on the conservative side, on the right wing side. And everyone is talking about the assassination of Charlie Kirk, who was murdered, who was assassinated. Unfortunately, oh, by the way, we lost connection with Rasta. We're going to bring him back on momentarily. But Charlie Kirk is an American author, and he's also an online communicator. I think he's also a podcast. I'm learning more about him as the story, as the information unfolds here. But he was speaking at an event at a Utah university, and what people or what authorities are considering as a person of interest shot and assassinated Charlie Kirk during a public platform. It was seen on video. It was also seen in video where he was carried off by a number of different people to go get medical attention. And then, unfortunately, he was pronounced dead. So, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, we're working on some of the technical difficulties in the background here. So, let me know if you can see me. And oh, there we go. Okay, and we're gonna soon have Rasta back on as well too. So let's see if we can get him back on the screen here. There we go. Rasta, can you see and hear me?
Absolutely. Apologize. I don't know what's going on with the signal interference out here where I'm at. This area is actually kind of poor. So my apologies to the viewers.
No worries. Thank you so much for coming back on. I was just telling our viewers and our listeners a little bit about what's been going on all over the internet right now prior to the anniversary of 9/11, which is today. And people are talking about this assassination that took place at a Utah university where public figure Charlie Kirk was shot and killed while he was talking to a number of people at the Utah University, and it's a very trying time right now. It's already a trying time in today's country, dealing with a number of different things that people are being very vocal about online on social media. And I said to Rasta prior to coming on tonight, we need to go live because there's so many people that are going to social media whenever a news breakout or whenever something happens, and they voice their opinions and their frustration and their perspectives. And so much on social media, it has become now where social media is someone's therapist. So I want to I guess, well, let's first start with this. How much so far, because our research team sent you the information about Charlie Kirk earlier today. How much do you know so far about this incident that is still unfolding? And by the way, before we go over the roster, we just want to let you know too that I'm keeping my TV and my other resources at my disposal because there is a manhunt currently going on right now to find this person of interest. He's not a suspect. He's not claimed to be a suspect just yet. He is claimed to be a person of interest, a person that allegedly or potentially allegedly assassinated this public figure. So how much do you know about this situation so far, Roster?
Not too much. I've been checking the media, CNN, different platforms, attempting to keep up with it. Uh, Outside of the reward for them, them looking for them and being a potential suspect, like you said, uh, it's a travesty overall. One, regardless of someone's attitude or who they are, the fact that they was unalived. So let's make that clear. Uh, the next thing is sometimes we just got to be mindful of the things that we say and how sensitive it can really be, even if we think it's not. Uh, Also, I overall just look at the circumstances as a warning to all, saying sometimes your opinion need to be kept to yourself, even if it's backed by fact. Sometimes you got to leave the research to the people. All news isn't good news, so some news should not be overly exposed. So overall, that'll be my take on the situation. I've heard things about the man. I've done a little bit of studying on the man, and his views are definitely controversial. Um, a good bit of them I don't quite agree with. However, uh, the breakdown of what he's saying, if people actually look at the circumstances as a whole, meaning a lot of people don't even know what racism is or what it means to be racist. That's something to take into a heavy account when looking at the avenue of a person to see the validity of what they're saying. Ist and ism, these are action additives in a word. They actually are the action of the word that comes before it. Okay. So a race, not just the one you run, but that which identifies a people with their ancestry and culture of commonality. So a race, for instance, if you have a bunch of Brazilians and they come together, that is a race. To be racist is to push the culture forward together as a whole. Racist. For those of you who may question what I'm saying, please do your etymology on the word race and ist and ism. Okay. Uh, Racism is basically the doctrine, theory, or practice of the race. So technically, as a whole, in its essence, to be racist is not wrong. Racism isn't wrong. It becomes a heavy negative connotation when people use prejudice inside of the movement of their own culture. So when we look at a gentleman who such was unalived, unfortunately, Mr. Kirk, the agenda that he pushed, once we know the definition of what we think he was doing or say he was doing, then we get the breakdown to really comprehend what's going on behind the scenes and in front of our faces. Anyone can say that they're racist, and that should be not offensive at all. Racist, one who has common ancestry and moves forward in that as a whole. What's wrong with that? Not to throw any slurs or anything out there, but melanated people, what they call black people, if we come together and move forward as a whole in our culture, wouldn't that constitute being racist? Just like any other culture of people? Then racism, meaning the practice, the theory, or the doctrine of that race. Basically, to practice your culture together moving forward, that also does not carry negative connotation. It's when you become prejudiced, when you think that your culture, your race, your doctrine, what you practice gives you the ability to force it on others or put yourself in a upper echelon of culture where you feel like yours overrides everyone else's. That's the negative connotation. The mentality that people have now dealing with racism, that is spiritual warfare. That is a spiritual entity that we all carry with one another and towards one another. So that's where the problem comes in, because a lot of people don't know what spiritual warfare really means. It has nothing to do with the next person and everything to do with yourself. The war is with you and within you. Isn't that where the spirit is, as far as we know? What do you think, brother?
Wow, that's a very interesting perspective right there. That's a very interesting one.
We're having a
So
little bit
like,
of difficulty, but while
can you hear me
everything
now?
warms up, those of y'all who are watching, the viewers, please comment, ask questions, like, share, subscribe, because therapy is not a joke. There he goes.
Absolutely. Okay. I think we're having a bit of a delay there, but we're going to keep it going. So to answer, and I appreciate you for saying that, Rasta. To answer that question or to respond to your assessment, and especially your breakdown of what racism really is, that's a very interesting one. So, as a kid, and I just talk about my experiences may not be the same as everyone else's that have been through some other form of traumatic situations or what have you, from people outside of a race or whatever. But I never really experienced racism a lot. I may have encountered, and may not even know to this very day, I may have encountered a person or two in my past that was a racist or a bigot or prejudice towards or against a certain type of community, certain type of group, and I just didn't know it. And so what we call that at times, Rasta, is subtle racism, meaning that you could go to work with a person that doesn't outright be in your face and call you names or say derogatory things based on your color, based on your skin color and what have you. But they could perform actions or do certain things or say certain things that can come off negative and can come off racist, if you will, if you don't really read between the lines of what that individual is actually saying or doing. So racism goes a long way too, and not just only in words and in verbal communication, but also in actions as well. And we've seen a history of that. We can go all the way back to slavery, to lynching, to Jim Crow, to now corporate America, and people dealing with the experiences of the isms, including racism and what have you. But for me, growing up as a kid, being surrounded by more so people that look like me, black and what have you, and being around other people that were from different nationalities, we didn't really know what racism was. I mean, we've seen it in television, we've seen it in movies, but as kids, we didn't look at skin color like adults do. We just look at, hey, I like you, you my friend, let's go out and play. Right. I remember Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And it was documented over and over again that he had a friend who was white, and they would go out and play together until the kid's parents or the kid's family, from what I remember, told the kid that he cannot play with Little Martin at the time because, because he was black. And I thought that was also interesting too, because, as kids, we, okay, as kids, again, we don't look at color. It's only being taught by people of a certain type of community or of an older group that instill that type of ideology or their thought process to the kids as they grow up to become teenagers and as they grow up to be adults as well too. And I've also have come across and have been around people who are white, who are Caucasian, and they come from a family or certain family members that do not approve of someone's skin color. And they just decided to break the chain and not be like their father or like their mother or like their family member was, So our roads somewhat kind of lead to what happened to Charlie Kirk. And to your point, Rasta, like we didn't know much about Charlie Kirk. Of course, people who are really deep into news or in some form of journalism and what have you or knew who Charlie Kirk was, and he was definitely a controversial figure, just like so many people that we see online and in the YouTube universe and what have you. It's half and half right now. Half of the people are in mourning of his death and are saying that even though people did not agree with his rhetoric and his messaging, he should not have deserved that type of fate that happened to him. So people on one half is saying that, and then the other people on the other side are embracing, celebrating his outcome because of what he stood for, his messaging, what his philosophy towards certain things were about and stuff. And I just say, Rasta, it's just, I agree with the part that you said that everybody doesn't need to say everything about every single thing, because we're in an era right now of reactions. We just do a lot of reacting. We're reacting to what this person said online, this person said on YouTube, this person said on the podcast, this, that, and the other. I think I have a problem with people who react but don't put in no action. So you got to take the word reaction, right? Reaction is what? You responding, or you responding to what somebody said, whether it's positive or negative, or it can be in the form of an act. Like for example, if Rasta bumped into me purposely and didn't say sorry, I'm going to react and I'm going to bump into him again, or I'm not again, but bump into him purposely because he bumped into me without saying sorry. That's what reaction is, right? And people that have spaces in broadcasting and the podcast world, in some form of entertainment, this, that, and the other, they feel the need to say what is on their mind because people are protected by the freedom of speech amendment. And in the world of technology, advanced technology, and of course the space that we have right now, is that so many people have a microphone. So many people have access to Wi-Fi. People have access to the internet. People have access to social media. People have access to a computer and stuff. And so now people are just not only finding spaces to really be vocal, but it's like an opportunity for them to get what it is that they need to get off their chest. And it's a form of spiritual warfare because we're at a war with each other. We're at a war with each other due to who we align with politically. We go on these platforms and debate people based on, they're a Democrat, they're a Republican, or they're a man, they're a woman. Well, I feel like this, and I feel like that, and I feel you should da 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 da. But it's nothing. It's not getting us nowhere. It's not getting us nowhere. It's not getting us to put any action behind the discrepancies and the issues and the atrocities that we're facing in America right now. It's a very big political climate. We're coming up on another political election next year, 2026. And I don't know, Rasta, I was telling my mother this the other day. I said, Mom, the world is getting worse. It's getting worse. It's not getting better. It seems like it's getting worse. So I want to take a moment to circle back to Rasta. I think his connection is working now. He might be still experiencing it, so we're going to do the best we can with him. But in the meantime, while he's working on it, please comment, like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We do have a YouTube channel, Reach One Network, where you won't only just see shows like Therapy Ain't No Joke, but you'll get to see some other shows that Reach One Network carries. All right, there we go. Rasta, you're back. And so I'm going to take this moment to pass the mic back over to you and finish getting off what you need to get off your chest. Oh, let me see if I can work that for you there. Get your mic to be unmuted. Oh, okay. His mic is not working. Okay. So, Rasta, I think you probably have. There we go. We can hear you now. I think it's a bit of a delay there.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. Okay, what I was suggesting was you probably may need to
Can you hear me
drop
now?
out. Yeah, but you going in and out. I think what you probably may need to do is just come out. Probably need to just come out. Maybe I don't know if you need to reboot your computer. Okay, and see it, and then come back on. All right, cool. Sorry, y'all, a lot is going on. But this is a great conversation. This is why I needed to come on and talk to you guys. Because like I said, me and Rasta haven't talked to you all in a minute. And if you're just now tuning in, it is Therapy Ain't No Joke. This is more like a therapy session, by the way, too. So it's not too formal or anything. We want to provide this space to you and others that's watching and listening to come on the program and say whatever it is that's on your mind in regards to tonight's topic, which is spiritual warfare. Are we in an actual spiritual warfare right now with so many things going on, especially with the amount of people going online and being vocal about what they witnessed, what they experienced, what they're reacting to, but then at the same time, it's not getting us nowhere. Nothing is not getting done. You can comment in the comment section, YouTube, Facebook at Sean Garvey, and on Instagram, we're live, Sean Garvey ATL. And like I said, ladies and gentlemen, tonight's episode will go up on Honey as well as Atlanta Channel 24. That's in Atlanta. So if you are watching us or will be watching us, make sure you have your Comcast Xfinity on point and on deck, and go to Atlanta Community Media Channel 24 to watch Therapy Ain't No Joke. And I do have another show on there too. Just a quick shameless plug there. Sean Garvey and my special guest with yours truly, Sean Garvey. Okay, but tonight's topic: spiritual warfare. Um, yeah. So continuing on with the conversation, while we are still getting new information about this alleged shooter that allegedly took the life of Charlie Kirk here. I was just thinking to myself for the past few days about just the power of social media and what it has become, to where people are going on social media and venting and being vocal about so many things happening in the media, or what the media is giving to so many people and just in their community and in their environment. So we have Rasta back on, and Rasta, you wanted to add some other items to the table, or just add on to what I just responded. Okay, Rasta, you there? We see and hear you, and we hear some sound in the background. We're just working on getting your mic together. Not yet. We hear some sound in the background. We're just working. I can hear myself in the background. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Cool. Okay. We might have figured something out a little bit. Once again, to the audience, please forgive us technical difficulties. We appreciate you tapping in. We appreciate you back. Episode 15, Spiritual Warfare. Therapy ain't no joke. Uh, this is a very large topic. Um, it's not able to be contained or narrowed down to just one aspect to a degree. Dealing with social media, it's its own spiritual warfare with the mental psychology of the influences of scrolling, the algorithm that comes with it. Um, that's a basket all of its own, let alone reaching back like you did earlier on racism or forms of it coming up, whether it be verbal, mental, emotional, physical. It's a wave of it. That's why you have both sides. One side, they're glad that he's gone. The other side is like, oh my God, he's gone. It's all just a space of being complacent with how you think. How you think dictates your vibration of who you are, which gives you the perception of who you are based off your experience, how you grew up, the culture you grew up in. And allowing yourself to identify that there is an issue with how you think and how you express yourself, then and only then can you acknowledge that there's a mental health issue that goes beyond your normal aspect of thinking. I say all that because all of that, which is basically your perception and your belief, compounds into what you identify as being racist or dealing with racism in your culture, in your community, in your workplace, even if you're home. For instance, you have some people that might have a large family in a home. Some might be lighter than others or darker than others. They have a tendency to favor one and not the other, think one is better than the other. According to today's identification of racist and racism, it happens in your own home. So it's inevitable that a person would take that and bring it out into society. Being able to recognize your mental state your emotional state. This will allow you to have the perception you need to filter out all the foolery and all the nonsense that you'll encounter in your life to the best of your ability. No one, please don't take the circumstances of someone being unalived as, yay, he's gone, or good, it happened to him. Someone still lost their life. Those who are cheering for that is a mental health issue. Those who are sad, okay, what are you sad about? That he's gone, that you're missing him? That, to me, my personal opinion, that's a mental health issue too, because technically you're being selfish. You're not even considering, okay, this man's family, but yourself. I miss him. I need him. He was this to me. That has nothing to do with the person that passed. So what's the narrative? Is it racism? Is it being selfish? What does it lead to? Where is it coming from? Like, topics like this, I don't mind speaking on, but sometimes it's just a thin line between all the contributing factors, whether it be political, whether it actually be racial, whether it just actually a person being an a-hole, somebody who's just difficult. And now that there's social media, they have a platform to vent, and any and everyone would probably listen and run with it. It's an easier way to spread poison. We had a segment on Therapy Ain't No Joke about social media and the way that it divides people, or the influence that it has on someone's culture as a whole, their thought process. Maybe he was subject to it, and now that was his way of pushing it back out. Maybe the alleged person or the person who actually did it went through the same thing he went through. The only difference is they took it out on him. It's plausible. So the topic itself is absolutely wonderful, but the narrative behind what we could say, what we couldn't say, it's just so vast. It's just so.
I'm sorry. Let me cut in for a moment because you was breaking up just a little bit, but we did hear most of what you said, which was very profound. So we appreciate that, Rasta. We are getting some breaking news, though, however, that the person of interest in the shooting of Charlie Kirk is in custody, according to CNN. We're going to have Rasta back on in just a few moments. But that is the breaking news that we're getting in real time right now, courtesy of CNN, is that the person of interest in the shooting of Charlie Kirk is in custody. Now, we're not saying, and reports are not saying that he's the suspect. They're saying that he is a person of interest. And by the way, they did get some images, or they, meaning FBI, did release images of the person of interest. So we're still getting updated news and information and stories as they develop in real time during Therapy Ain't No Joke with Rasta and Sean Garvey. But that's the breaking news right now, that the person of interest in the shooting of Charlie Kirk is in custody. Continue on. We got you back on, Rasta. Okay, we're still having some technical difficulties with Rasta. Okay, all right. We're going to work it out. It's the internet, ladies and gentlemen, but it's also live television at the same time. So we're going to definitely work on getting everything squared away on his end, so that way he can share some wonderful, great information with you. Let's check in with Rasta again. Rasta, you still there? And by the way, me and Rasta, we're not in the same studio together, so he's in a different area than I am in. Rasta, you there?
Right. I'm still here. I'm still riding. I'm still rocking. As long as we got signal, I'm here absorbing it.
All right, cool. Yeah. So again, breaking news: person of interest in the shooting of Charlie Kirk is in custody. No word just yet. We're still getting some more information coming in as they
Well,
developed here on Therapy Ain't No Joke. Yes, Rasta. Okay.
I would
Well, and by the
truly
way, we're on
love to
a
hear
delay.
what's next. Now, the fact that they actually have someone, the breaking news on that is going to be absolutely wonderful, because I would love to hear what he had to say. If I could be a fly on the wall, I would love to be that fly on the wall to hear that conversation. Because let's just, for speculation, we're not confirming anything here. We don't know. We're not there. For conversation's sake, suppose he did do that.
All right.
Really, what would be the reason? What could possibly be the reason? Can you hear me?
By the way, yeah. Again, you going in and out there in real time, so I'm making sure that we're working on getting you back up and running again. We're having some technical difficulties. We do apologize, ladies and gentlemen, but again, we wanted to come on tonight as breaking news continued to unfold. We had this last name spelled wrong. We apologize for that as well. A few bloopers that are happening during tonight's show, but it comes with the territory of doing content news live. A person of interest in the shooting of Charlie Kirk is in custody, according to CNN. We're still waiting for reports as they unfold and as they are developing. Again, you can comment on tonight's topic, spiritual warfare, in the comment section if you're watching us YouTube, Facebook, and on Instagram. And again, continue to like, share, and subscribe, or let people know to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Reach One Network. Just to give you all some more context on who Charlie Kirk is, because I was just like the rest of you all. I didn't know who this person was. It's so many conservative right-wing commentators and pundits that are out there. It's so many to name. And, a lot of times I pretty much am in my own space. Not so much involved in the political arena, but I'm in my own space as far as other news stories and other different subject matters that come down the pipeline by various people that made the headlines and stuff. And Charlie Kirk, unfortunately, is not one of them. There is another controversial conservative commentator, talk show host, or whatever you call these people nowadays. His first name starts with Nick. Is it Frutez or Frontes? I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, but his first name starts with Nick. And I got wind about him on a podcast called Fresh and Fit. and he was the one that used the N word. I think not once, but twice, maybe a couple of times, or maybe just that one time during on their podcast. And he became more and more polarizing to where people were very outraged about this conservative commentator being on a public platform using the N word in real time, and letting people know how he feels about Black people, how he feels about a certain type of race and community and what have you. So I know of him, and I remember when I was a producer for Robert Patillo's show, People, Passion, and Politics, that used to air here in Atlanta on 1380 WLK. And I remember Robert Patillo would do live shows with political people, with political commentators, and having debates with them. And these were people that were conservatives. These were people that supported the values that came along with being a Republican or a conservative figure, you know. And let's just say that those episodes that I produced during the WLK days in my career, they were very intense debates and conversations. And I think Robert Patillo, as a political commentator himself, and not just only that, a political analyst and a person who is very involved in the political arena, and as an attorney, he carried himself very well. And in this business, in this industry, you got to have thick skin at times when you go up against people who have a different philosophy, a different perspective than you in the political world. So that was my time with Robert, and even people in the talk show arena that had to challenge other people that were conservative, or people who had certain type of ideologies that were different from theirs. So Rasta is still having some signal issues. We got him back on. I think, Rasta, what we're gonna do, because this is not gonna be like a 2-hour show or anything of that nature. We're gonna end soon. I just wanted this to be an opportunity for people to come on and get whatever they need to get off their chest. And I think it's because today is 9/11, and even though we're getting reports about, we're getting like new information, bite-sized news information about the assassination of Charlie Kirk. This is happening on the watch of the anniversary of 9/11, and families and friends that lost friends and that lost family members during that horrific event in our nation's history in 2001, not 2011, in 2001. It still affects a lot of people to this very day. And for this to happen on the watch of the 9/11 anniversary, a lot of people are now in fear of what is going to happen next, or what could happen next if someone of that particular statue says something about or against other people's ideologies and values and stuff. Are they going to get taken out? Are they going to meet their same fate? So that puts the freedom of speech in question for a lot of people who use these public platforms to vent, to discuss, to make awareness about certain things happening in our country. And Therapy Ain't No Joke is no different, except we provide solutions. And that's what I mean by nothing not getting done. Because, say, for example, with Therapy Ain't No Joke, which is an offspring to the mental space, we've actually have helped people seek therapy or get the type of treatment that they need to get to help them in their current circumstance. And not only that, but we have provided information for people to access free mental health services, or to contact or reach someone for any type of assistance with their mental well-being. The thing is this, Rasta, and we'll come back over to you if we have enough time, and if we are still having those same issues with you, then we're going to have to work on it offline and then have you back on next time. The thing about it is, we take liberties for granted. a lot. Freedom of speech is a civil liberty, and it's rooted in the Constitution that all men have the access and the ability to say what it is on their mind, to speak what it is on their mind and stuff. When you travel or you go outside of the 50 state line and you go to other foreign places, you're not going to have that same luxury as opposed to being here as an American. And social media is the epicenter now, has become the new epicenter for news and information. I happened to find out about this particular news story by way of social media. And I had to go to my reliable sources and to the actual news places to get more information about this particular story with Charlie Kirk. And then you tie that in with mental health and people who are dealing with mental illness. Uh, there are people out here, and we don't talk about this enough, Rasta. There are people who are just addicted to toxic news stories.
Yes.
As much as journalists and as people in the media, I've seen shows and I have been on plenty of shows where good news is put out there. Integrity-based news is out there. Even stories that are covering people that are doing good things, great things in the community are being put out there. But they don't get the same type of airtime or the same type of commodity or notoriety as these stories about shootings. And of course, we don't live in a fantasy world. We live in a real world where the news has to report what is going on. I come from the news talk environment. I worked in news stations before. And it's not meant, by the way, viewers, as a person who still works in the industry, the news, the media is not supposed to be a fear mongering entity. It's not built. It wasn't supposed to be built for that. It was supposed to keep you aware. It's supposed to raise awareness of things that are happening in your world, in your community, in your environment, and to do something about it. If you see something, say something, or to inform you about different things that are happening or getting ready to happen in your community and what you should do to take part in the infrastructure or the changes that are happening in your community. But now with the rise of social media and YouTube and all these other places and everything else, there are people, whether they come from the right wing or the left wing, Rasta, is that as long as I have YouTube and I have social media and I have all these different avenues and vehicles, I can say what is on my mind without any consequences. And we've seen that unfolded for X amount of time, X amount of years, all the way up to now, to the fate of what happened with Charlie Kirk. And also, let me just say this too for the viewers and for the public out there. We still are getting, we still are trying to get all the facts in behind the motive of this assassination, because a lot of the times, and this goes back to social media, a lot of times we jump to conclusions a lot, while facts and everything else are still developing. The person of interest, not suspect, the person of interest who allegedly took the life of Charlie Kirk, how do we know he actually did it? Or if that was really the motive, why he assassinated this man, this public figure? Do we know why he really did it? Because we're speculating that this person of interest allegedly did it because this person of interest did not like the things that Charlie Kirk have said over the years, or his philosophy and his ideologies about certain things. But is that the reason why the person did it? The person of interest did it. Does he know him personally? What kind of relationship did he have with Charlie Kirk? Or did he not have a relationship with Charlie Kirk? So I think and to you, what you just said a few moments ago, Rasta, I'm interested too in hearing the why he actually did what he did. But let's try this again, Rasta, and if it doesn't work, then um, we're gonna go from there.
Uh, some of it you was going in and out, probably on my end. Like I said to everyone, my y'all just for being here. Um, I'm definitely interested in the why, the anniversary of 9/11. This is also Ethiopian New Year. So the irony of such tragedy over here is a celebration somewhere else in our culture, which goes back to the statement of what is the purpose? What is the purpose of unaliving someone for their freedom of opinion? You simply don't have to listen. Sometimes we force ourselves to listen to others' opinion and then take offense when it doesn't match our own. And then in turn, we victimize ourselves based off what someone else said, someone else's actions, someone else's thoughts. If the roles were reversed, would we respond the same? I don't think that people actually take time to consider what you say matters, quote unquote, in a good sense or in a bad sense, positive or negative. Where it comes from within you dictates the response you get, whether you know it or not, because you have to be mindful of the audience you're speaking to. We talk about social media. We talk about the government. We talk about left wing, right wing. We talk about Democrats and Republicans. We have to narrow it down to the perspective of the individual, and is it necessary for you to listen? Like you said earlier, the news is to bring awareness to circumstances, people, places, and things, to keep people abreast on time and the narrative of what's happening in real time. But now it's turned into, in some cases, a circus show of hand-picked information to give to people to either create chaos or temporary peace. That would definitely confuse a person even further to identify, do I like these group of people? Do I even like myself? I don't watch the news too often. Every now and then I check in, get some updates, find out what's fashionable, what's not, what's trending, what's not. I don't get into it as often as I may think I should, because I already know that it's already pre-programmed what they want to show me and what they don't want to show me. So if I take the time to get to learn me, find out more about me, then I'm taking care of my mental health. Then I'm taking care of my perspective on how I see things. I have to choose what I listen to and what I don't listen to, because that's feeding my soul. People talk, well, this opinion, that opinion. Let's boil it down some more. Let's boil the chicken, the meat, all the way down to the bone, which is you pick and choose what you listen to. Therefore, you're picking and choosing what your mind absorbs. Therefore, picking and choosing technically your responses to the circumstances of the world around you, or just simply the world that's within you. Where does it stop? When does it stop? If no one takes anything from tonight's segment, I would like them to take, please be mindful of what you say, how you say it, who you say it to, what are your intentions behind it. I do everything I can to be mindful because guess what? I can say something tonight that might spark somebody, enrage them, and the next thing we know, there's another murder on our hands. That's how strong our words are.
Indeed, indeed.
Live.
All right. Indeed.
Technically can be said all over the world. Please go ahead.
Indeed. Indeed. We also got a few people on the check-in via Instagram. I appreciate you all for checking in, and put in the comment section below your name and where you are coming from, so that way we can acknowledge you during the live broadcast, as well as for our Facebook users at Sean Garvey on Facebook. So hold on one second. I think we're still having some technical issues here. And we are live tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So along with live television will come some technical difficulties here. I appreciate you all for bearing with us and hanging out with us. Rasta and myself, Sean Garvey. I'm just doing the engineering side here, but I'm also engaging and talking with you all at the same time. Just giving some people some context behind what we're talking about tonight, spiritual warfare. Are we living in the times of what people deem to be spiritual warfare? And we're also discussing some of what we thought about the outcome from the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And so just to give some people some context behind Charlie Kirk, because like I said earlier, I didn't know who this person was until people started speaking about him. He was an American conservative political activist, author, like I said earlier, and a media personality. Notice keyword media personality, who co-founded the conservative organization Turning Point USA in 2012 and was its executive director. He was also the chief executive officer of Turning Point Action and a member of the Council for National Policy. Wow. What a very interesting resume this person had. And like I said, he spoke at a event at the university, at the Utah University. And this person of interest that CNN is reporting that this person of interest is in custody, shot and killed Charlie Kirk while he was speaking at the event. And so as of earlier, either earlier yesterday morning or earlier today, since we're on the day of the anniversary of 9/11, pictures were released by Utah officials to inform the people that this person of interest is under a manhunt right now. And this is what this person of interest looks like. And so right now, according to CNN, they have this person of interest in custody. Allegedly, let's just say allegedly is in custody until we can get some newer updates, or if this is just pretty much a rumor that's going around. So again, we're going to try to keep you posted and informed on what we will be able to get out of this situation. I don't want to spend too much time again talking about Charlie Kirk. I'll just let the other networks and the media outlets do what they do best. But at the same time, I want people to just to echo and to circle back to what our great brother Rasta said earlier, is to not get caught up in everything that people is saying on social media. It's just one person, everybody. I think we make the mistake sometimes and at times as human beings to give power to one person, a mortal person, too much power to think for us as opposed to think for ourselves. And a person who has a bigger platform and has a microphone will be able to say some or all of the most profounding things that can capture you in that moment to where you will start believing it. And you have to, of course, do the research. Number one, do your own due diligence and seek out information by whether it's picking up a book or Googling some information, making sure that you get your information from accredited sources and not just from anywhere or what have you. But I think sometimes people take their own personal experiences and blend it in with what is happening and what the media puts out there. And people have different experiences. People have different journeys in life, and people go by what they experience in life, good or bad, and they come up with conclusions on what they think or what they feel happened in that moment and stuff like that. But it's paramount. It's very important to get all the facts first before we jump to conclusions and everything. But what I want to talk about before we close tonight's show, and unfortunately we cannot get Rasta back on because he is having some technical difficulties on his end. Remember what me and Sharia talked about on last week's show of the remix when we were sitting in for DJ Yogi on WRFG 89.3 FM in Atlanta. You have to sometimes take a break from social media. And I actually took a break from social media for a couple of weeks. And I'm just now getting back to promoting again on social media, posting things on social media. And it's part of my way to keep people informed and keep people aware on what is happening with Reach One Communications, my brand, and everything that I do on a positive level in the world of media. But at the same time, as a person who sees pretty much almost everything that hits my timeline and stuff, I just be thinking, I'm like, man, doesn't this person just take a break from social media? Like, you know what I mean? Because all I see this person or people do is just talk, complain, and rant, and everything. But a lot of us got to look at ourselves in the mirror and just be like, what are we doing? There's 24 hours in a day. I know you hear that a lot, people. There's 24 hours in a day, and people utilize their 24 hours in a day in different ways. But when it's something pressing with the world that we're in right now, and it's a crazy world that we're in America, in our country, or whatever, the hard part is actually doing something. The easy part is going to events and going on YouTube and going on X and going on social media and being vocal about things that you don't like. That's the easy part. The hard part is the action. It reminds me back when I was in grade school, right? And again, this is therapy, ain't no joke for those that are just tuning in. This is like a therapy session that we're doing. Back in grade school, you all may remember this. Remember back in grade school where you get into a thing. You get into like an argument or a verbal confrontation with somebody. Or you just don't like a particular individual. There's always somebody that we did not like back in grade school, elementary, middle school, high school, whatever, right? And You brag to your friends or to your network, I'm going to beat this person up. I'm going to beat this person up. I'm going to do this. This person is not going to say ish about me. This person not going to say nothing about me anymore. This person is a punk and all that. You remember that back in grade school, right? And then when it's time to fight that person, when that person steps up to you and is ready to throw those dukes, I know you ain't heard that in a while, but throw up those hands, you just be like, oh man, you know what, man, I was just playing, man. I was just talking stuff. I didn't really mean what I said, that was just all talk. And this was way before social media even came into place. It was just all talk. And so now what we're seeing in the public sector is all talk, no action. All talk, no action. Martin Luther King wasn't just about talking. Martin Luther King Jr. was about action. Yeah, was about action. And some people who are activists say they're activists because they get on social media and they get on YouTube and they express how they feel. They're displeased about the country and this, that, and the other. But what are they actually doing, though? The tongue is a very powerful tool. And you can generate thousands to millions of supporters that support your ideology and support your philosophy on things. But what is it doing? Is it putting money in your bank account? Is it helping you feed the machine? Is it helping you support your family, support your own personal interests? What is it doing at the end of the day? When you're just speaking out, because it's all public speaking. I took a course. Ooh, you never know what happens on live television. Something fell on my end, but we're going to keep it moving. I took a course in college called public speaking. And yeah, there's a course that does exist in college called public speaking, where people had to, write something and practice in front of a group of people, and whatever they wanted to talk about, it has to be engaging enough to captivate the audience. And part of public speaking is learning to enunciate your words, learn to practice what you're going to say, think before what you say, your presentation, your delivery. How are you going to deliver your message that's going to be effective, right? Do you have the information that's going to back up everything that you're saying? Do you have the facts, right? And part of this curricular activity was complementing what I was already doing in radio, because I was already in radio the first 2-3 years that I was in radio. I was going to college. I attended college and I had to take a public speaking course. So part of that helped me be aware of the power that I have to captivate a live audience, to captivate people that were in a position to get some type of enlightenment, information, and to get an understanding of how the world works. So public speaking was a very big deal to me in college. I had to learn to speak effectively and also being able to captivate the audience in real time. And I've seen some of the videos that folks like Charlie Kirk has done over the years. And he's a very polarizing engaged figure that will either make you feel some type of way about him, that will probably make you feel angry, or you may be like, huh, he does have a point. You know, whatever you interpreted from Charlie Kirk or from anybody that has those spaces to speak or whatever is what you interpreted. But a lot of times, as personalities, as I'm a media personality just like Charlie Kirk is, but in a different fashion. And I have to be mindful of what I say to people or what I say in a public platform because of the spaces that I have, the people that I know. And again, the tongue is a very powerful tool. Whatever you say, certain people will follow. You know, and we're still going through that right now. But what consequences will people experience when they have a platform and they say whatever is on their mind, whether it's fact or an opinion or both? What are the consequences? You know, could it be similar to, you know, the potential outcome, the outcome that we've seen? And we're speculating that this public figure had his own life taken by an individual, person of interest that disliked Charlie Kirk's rhetoric or his views on life as a conservative. And it just happens to be in the same period as 9/11. And there are videos right now honoring and remembering those that have been impacted, and even the heroes who did go out and save lives during the 9/11 attacks. But for this incident to somewhat overshadow, and this is just my opinion, this is just Sean Garvey's opinion, for this incident to overshadow the 9/11 anniversary is quite interesting. And we keep using that word interesting a lot because it's so many different things to make out of this. You know, and not all of it is good. Not all of it is good. So I hate the fact that Rasta was having some technical issues and what have you, but we really appreciate him for coming on tonight's Therapy Ain't No Joke. And this was actually meant to be pre-recorded, but we wanted to come live and give people the platform to speak whatever it is. Just in general, there are people who are pretty much going through a lot right now. There are people that are going through a lot right now. And there are people who still need to get help, need to seek help. And I want to do this before we close out the show because I would be remiss if I don't do it. Please, everybody, please either do what it says at the bottom of your screen there. Contact the National Alliance for Mental Illness helpline at 1-800-950-NAMI. Again, that's 1-800-950-NAMI. Or send them an email to info@nami.org. Their operational hours are from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. And again, that's 1-800-950-6264. If you or someone you know is dealing with a crisis, a mental health crisis. Now, if you don't want to do all of that, you want to do this. Dial 988, the Crisis and Suicide Lifeline. If you or someone you know is facing a mental health crisis. Okay, so you have multiple options to choose from, a couple of options to choose from to speak to someone 24/7 immediately if you're facing a crisis or a suicide crisis. Call or dial the number 988, the opposite of 911. All right, so we're going to leave this here at the bottom of our screen. And we're going to end the show. And I really appreciate you guys for just hanging in there with us doing these bloopers, including my background light for falling down and what have you. But we're going to be right in tight next time. You might see this episode again. Well, no. We actually going to put it out there. I'm not going to even do no editing. I'm not going to have my editing team do anything with the video tonight or what have you. We're just going to put it out there in case you missed any of tonight's highlights of Therapy Ain't No Joke. All right. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Sean Garvey, the producer, and we're going to be joined by Rasta again in the next few days as we have another conversation on mental health and our mental well-being. Okay. And I want to give out a disclaimer too that I am not a licensed therapist. I am not a licensed psychiatrist or anything in that particular nature. Please contact your local therapist or your psychiatrist if you need help as well too. You can still dial the 988 number that's at the bottom of your screen there. But if you need to speak to somebody immediately, please go see a therapist. You should be doing that anyway. Okay. All right. So thank you guys. Thank you all for tuning in to Therapy Ain't No Joke on a Thursday night, when we usually record on a Wednesday night, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, tonight's episode will be seen, honey, next Wednesday night, 7 to 9 p.m. And then we will be back to giving you guys brand new episodes of Therapy Ain't No Joke every Wednesday night from 7 to 9 p.m. And we also have our own YouTube channel. Our own YouTube channel. Therapy Ain't No Joke, or the Mental Space. We're working on renaming the YouTube channel, but our new YouTube channel is going to have nothing but mental health shows. Okay, whether it's my show or Dominique Chantel's show, we're going to have a channel for people who love to watch mental health based shows. So we're going to have that YouTube channel with all of the episodes that you may have not seen in the past established and running in the next few days. Be patient with us and check us out on YouTube at Reach One Network. Like, share, and subscribe in the meantime, between time. Until then, thank you guys for tuning in to Therapy Ain't No Joke, because therapy ain't no joke. Me and Rasta, we will see you all again next time.